I had 12 days to build 2 professional ship models. And this is the moment I realized I had a problem. The 3D printer saved me time. But every layer, every seam, everything was visible. The goal was not just to finish 2 models. The goal was to make them look like professional display pieces for a real client. So let's go back to the beginning. Normally, I build my models using acrylic sheets. Every part is cut, shaped and assembled by hand. But this time, I had 2 models and only 12 days. I needed to save time without sacrificing the quality. The design time was almost the same. The difference was in manufacturing. With traditional method, I would have to cut and assemble thousands of individual pieces twice. With 3D printing, I could create the main structure almost already assembled. Once the digital model was ready, the printing process began. The ship slowly started to appear. Instead of hundreds of separate acrylic pieces, I was creating the main structure directly from the printer. Every part had its place. This was the most interesting part for me. Seeing a digital model turn into real physical parts is always a special moment. But 3D printing does not finish the job. The printer only gives you the pieces. The real work begins when you start turning those pieces into the solid model. The first major test was about to begin. After the first coat of primer, I finally saw the real surface. The primer revealed every print line, every seam, every small imperfection. But this was not unexpected failure. This was a calculated risk. Before this project, I had already created fully 3D printed car models, so I knew how to solve the problem. Now, it was time to remove the 3D printed look. Now, I had to do something I have done many times before. The 3D printer gave me speed, but the final quality still had to come from my hands. The solution was simple. Treat the printed parts like any other professional model. Fill the imperfections, remove the layer lines, repeat the process until the surface is ready. The real test would come after paint. The main challenge was solved, and the model finally started to look like a real ship. But during the final inspection, I noticed one more missing detail. I forgot to include this part in 3D model. So, even in a digital workflow, sometimes the old school modeling skills are still needed. I mixed the paint, loaded the paint gun, and started to build the final appearance of the model. The deck needed a different tone to create contrast and bring out the structure of the ship. The final color was the bottom section. Step by step, the 3D printed parts were disappearing, and the ship model was finally coming to life. The main colors were finished, but the model was still missing the details that make ship look real. Windows, identification number, draft marks, and safety marking, all those details bring the scale model closer to the real vessel. After adding all the marking, the final clear coat was the most critical step. At this point, all the major parts were ready. Now it was time to bring everything together. The deckhouse was the first part to receive all the final equipment. Small details like antennas, lights, and technical elements completely changed the appearance of the model. Then I moved to the hull. Propellers, railing, deck equipment and access details. Every small part had a purpose. The next important step was placing the model on its final display base. After many hours of work, the two main parts finally became one complete ship model. The transformation was complete. What started as hundreds of printed parts was now a finished scale model. The models were finished. But for a professional display, they still needed protection. The clear acrylic cover had to be prepared. Each panel was aligned and fixed in place. The goal was to create a clean, transparent case around the model. After the final cleaning, the display cases were ready. The models were finally complete. After 12 days of work, what started as 100 of 3D printed parts became professional display model. At this scale, every small detail matters. The goal was not only to make model look good, but to capture the character of the real vessel. This project was a test of a new workflow. Using 3D printing to save time while keeping the quality of traditional model making. Technology helped me to move faster, but experience is what turned those parts into finished models.